So, hey, Paul, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great, Brad. Great to hear your voice.
How's life? Keeping busy during the quarantine?
Life is not bad. It was pretty crappy for a while there, but yeah, I'm trying my very best. I'm living with my sister right now, so I get to see my dad and my sister every day, which is kind of cool.
How's your dad doing?
He's doing good. You know what? He's doing good. He's going to be 89 in October.
89.
Yeah, my mom it's been I think a little over 3 years that she passed away, so that was very tough on him. But he's a pretty solid guy. You know that.
Yeah, well, there's definitely something in your blood that keeps you guys fighting for sure. But how's everything else going? I have to say I was very honored to be a guest on your blog not too long ago with Greg and Billy. How do you enjoy doing that?
I love it. It's Carrie and I started about 4 months ago, called the Gouche Live, featuring Paul Rosen. We were on the hockey news. We had some great guests, and then when all of this happened, they said, why don't you guys keep going? So we went 7 days a week instead of once a week. 7 days is hard. Some shows are hard to really get going, but the show, the one-on-one that I had, the roundtable with you, Billy, and Greg was great, because we get to talk old-time stories. And a lot of people out there, they follow that line, that Bridges, Browden, and Westlake line, and they had a good time listening to some old stories.
Yeah, it's funny just reminiscing and talking about the past, and I guess it's just the more more time passes and the older you get, the more you start to appreciate those memories. And that's always really good to have just a flood of just different memories and things. Like we probably could have talked for at least 4 hours that day, but
no doubt about it. We didn't even get into some stories before we really became a dominant team.
I'll have to plug or put some information down in the bottom section of this video when I posted it, or whatever, the video blog, when I posted, and maybe get some people to check that out. And yeah, it was pretty cool. And it was great to see you operating some technology, and that you're picking it up and learning, and you're making the most of the tools that you got during quarantine. I think most people are starting to learn a lot about what they're capable of learning after having to. So
trying my best. My dad got me a laptop for my 60th birthday, so yeah, I actually know how to do a lot of things. It's pretty cool. It's also helps having a girlfriend who's young and can show me how to do things.
This question's probably been asked you a million times, but just for people that aren't familiar with who Paul Rosen is, obviously you're a sledge hockey player, and we've got a history, and I know everything about you. But for the people that are just kind of listening for the first time and learning about you, can you give a little bit of a backstory about what it is exactly that happened, or what your disability is, and just kind of how that happened, just as quickly as possible? And I know it's probably a super long story, but it's interesting.
No, we'll use the Coles Notes versions, no problem. Yeah, I wanted to be a professional hockey player. That's all I really wanted to do. I had a severe leg break when I was a teenager, and that was the end of really in the 70s of being able to fulfill your dream. I had so many surgeries and so many problems with my leg, and in the mid 90s, I had an opportunity to go overseas with the Israeli national team, which was good and bad. The good part was I got to really learn a lot about the game of hockey, and how much knowledge I didn't have that I thought I had, and I learned a lot. And then when I came back, the leg flared up again. I needed a knee replacement. Unfortunately for me, but turned out to be fortunate, the infection from the knee replacement came in, and it was basically 2.5 years of hell, Brad. I had surgery after surgery after surgery until June of 1999, coming up on 21 years. I didn't really have too many choices. They amputated my leg a little below the hip, mid-thigh. And unbelievably, I walked into Variety Village. I met this young boy, Shane Smith, who he just asked me some real basic questions about living as a disabled person. And I just never looked back. And, then I met you, and I met Billy, and I met guys who disability was was nothing to them. It was, you didn't know any different. Ability was all you knew. I absolutely loved it and got involved with the sled hockey team. Was fortunate to have an incredible goalie coach in Jamie McGuire. Pushed real hard, made the team, and from 2002 in Salt Lake until Vancouver, when I ended my career, had a ton of highs, some lows, but I wouldn't change anything, Brad.
Yeah, well, I can say just personally, one of the best goalies that I've ever had behind me, and I've had some pretty darn good goalies on my team, and a lot of people are probably familiar with Corbin, and my computer just messed up here. And a lot of people are probably familiar with Corbin and Dom and a lot of other goalies in the past, like Pichette. And yeah, no, man, I just mad respect for just the way that you played back there. You're a very gritty goalie, and it was just amazing, just some of the saves that you made during big times, and it was definitely a huge contributor to why I was successful, and a lot of the other guys, we relied on you a lot. So some good times.
I love the fact that you said gritty and not dirty, because most people around the world would say dirty, and I'm okay with the word dirty, but I like gritty.
No way, man. You weren't dirty. You just played the game. I mean, what one coach was saying, well, I mean, it's not the best saying. They're saying if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So if there's sayings like that and you're going to be a little bit dirty, I mean, it's all psychological warfare at the end of the day. It's not like, you were doing anything that you weren't allowed to do. It's hockey. I think all is fair in that game, but I think we've all got our tendencies when we play, but you definitely brought some oomph to the ice, and it was cool to have you fired up back there. I remember when we got in that fight in where was that? There was a big brawl that broke out.
Germany.
That just came to mind.
It was behind my net when that knucklehead Seagrave, number 99, told us that Wayne Gretzky said he could wear the number. What an idiot. He hit you from behind behind my net, and it was vicious. You got hit hard and dirty, and Billy jumped in, and unfortunately we had Jeremy Booker and good guys, but just wouldn't come in to help. And so I just looked at the bench. Schneid's gave me the nod, and I jumped in, and we started firing punches. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. I remember just it happened, and then it was just before I could even think or anything, Billy was on the guy and you were into it, and just everything just went crazy. I think a guy even jumped off their bench, right? That was crazy.
Two of their guys jumped off the bench, and just one of them drilled me in the back, and my back was never the same, actually. Thank God for Tony Carbonetti. But yeah, if it would have been different if like a Harvey Lord or somebody like that was on the ice, because then we would have had some nice backup. Unfortunately, I think we had Danny Werner, Todd Nicholson, and might have been Jeremy Booker, but it definitely was three nice people, not guys that you want in your corner when you're getting punched.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of a bit of a timid player myself. I don't usually get into those scrums, but I mean, yeah, it was definitely interesting, and you know what? It made me feel like pretty good to see you guys stick up for me so quick. And I mean, it's not like I expected anybody else to really, to do that. And, I'm not judging anybody that didn't. So, but definitely you guys were definitely some of the guys that always stood up when stuff was kind of going down. So it was pretty cool.
Listen, if anybody touched anybody, it didn't matter whether it was Danny Werner or you, Brad, Billy, or Westlake, Dixon. It didn't matter. I didn't care how big they were. When Dixon got hit in my crease, and it was Tommy Robles, who was a monster, or even Ryan, who was a big man, and I just put myself out there, and I could have got killed, but you touched one of my guys, I didn't really care. I was coming to the rescue.
What about? Do you remember what? I remember there was a gentleman that passed away playing. I think he played for the Spitfires or whatever the team was called. And he passed away, fell to the ice and hit his head. And they were trying to take fighting out. And Hockey Canada was pushing to get fighting out of the game. Do you remember that year?
Yeah,
and then we ended up getting in that brawl.
Yeah, I do. I can't remember the guy's name, but I 100. Yeah, I do remember that.
It was like the worst timing ever for Hockey Canada, and
it was behind the net, and it was terrible. Yeah,
but I remember because like you were right in there, and then I was, I was never any good at that stuff. Like I would drop my sticks, and then I'm sitting there going, oh shit, I dropped all my sticks. Like I can't even move, so it was pretty useless. But that was man, we had some pretty cool times for sure. But I'm gonna have to move on here. We could talk about just crazy stories like that all the time, and maybe we'll do another one of these down the road. I mean, we can do whatever we want in the future. So
anytime.
But just for kids in general, just listening to this too and stuff. And I mean, I'm not condoning fighting, but it is a part of the game, and it happens, and emotions flare, and that's why you have referees that have to make sure that they do their job properly and make sure people don't get hurt and make sure things don't get out of hand. But moving on from that, who did you admire the most growing up? Like, who was your favorite hockey player that you idolized growing up as a kid?
Well, Bobby Hall when I was very young. And then when I got a little older, it was Dennis Savard. So obviously the Blackhawks are my favorite team. They still are to this day. You know, it's Patrick Kane nowadays, but it was guys like Bobby Hall, Dennis Savard, Patrick Kane, the goaltenders that I loved when I was much younger, Tony Esposito, and then older, Martin Brodeur. I got a chance to meet him many times. So I would say my favorite player of all time was Bobby Hall.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Used to talk to your grandfather about Bobby Hall all the time, and Jerry and I had some good talks about Bobby Hall.
My grandfather loved to talk hockey.
Yep.
I am so fortunate that I got to grow up and be raised by people that grew up in a different era when hockey was a little bit, like I said, gritty and, you know, like no helmets and so forth, and just learned all about Bobby Orr and just the history of the sport really and the evolution of the game. And just it was the coolest thing was when I actually got to introduce Bobby Orr to my grandfather, and I knew that he was my grandfather's hero growing up. That was crazy. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that, but we met Bobby Orr a few times too. He did a few events for us when we were with the Sledge team. But
absolutely.
So the next question is there anyone special in your life that's inspired you? I know you talked a bit about Shane Smith and that, but I mean, is there anybody else that has really stood out that has inspired you through your career and through just life in general?
Yeah, my father, 100%. You know, the guy who taught me if you work hard and you're honest, you don't screw people, you'll have a good life. And you know, I watched him work his ass off to take care of 3 kids, and I had a brother who passed away, so you know 4 kids, and my mom, and work as hard as he did. Even nowadays, just watching by example what he does and the respect that people have for him. That's the thing I love. When somebody says to me, "Oh, you're Ron Rosen's son," to me, that's the greatest thing in the absolute world.
Well, I'm sure he's pretty proud of you too. What did your dad do for a living?
He was a truck driver. He was yeah,
like my grandfather. That's
hard,
cool.
hard
I forgot that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And what did your mom do?
He talked to your grandfather Jerry, and my dad had some good conversations too. I remember they both had that hard-nosed grit about life. They didn't like if they liked you, they liked you, but if they didn't, boy, they didn't like you.
Yeah, you had to really earn their respect. They didn't really just hand it out, but they, you know what? Guys like that also have huge hearts too. So once you're in there, you're in there forever. So getting back to the questions here, but so just moving on here, I know that there's a lot of people that might have followed you online and heard a lot of your stories in the past, but for some people that might not be familiar, you've and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but we both kind of been affected in our lives in different capacities by addiction, whether it's been somebody, you know, who's had an addiction, or you know, have had to go through something like that. Is there anything that you want to talk about with some of your story that you've been kind of more public about in the media with regards to some of the stuff you had to deal with and overcome?
100%. I'm an open book because I feel there's a reason why I lived through my suicide attempt, to help others. So there was many things that happened to me, Brad, when I was a teenager that you know, I won't go into. That took me down the path of drugs and alcohol, and the crazy thing was I was married 24 years and had a lot of people who thought they knew me really well, but you know, they had no clue what I was doing. They had no clue the depth of my drug abuse and my alcoholism. They really had no clue, and I tried to hide it from guys like you. We traveled the world. Greg roomed with me for, you know, over 5 years, and they knew something was going on, but they never had to the extent, because I always did it in a way that you guys wouldn't really know. But it got to a point when I retired where I just didn't want to live. I just almost on a weekly basis, I had an idea of how I was going to take my life, till finally on 2019 and January 30th, the most ironic thing, on Bell Let's Talk Day, I did an event in the morning, and then I said, no, I can't do this anymore. Left a couple of notes for my kids, and my kids, and that was a hard thing. And then I took 35 oxy cottons, which should have killed a horse, but didn't kill me. And then drank a gallon of Windex, which I do not recommend to anybody. And I woke up in the psychiatric ward and started to learn that I could ask for help, and I could get help. And there was a point where you did something that I didn't appreciate at the time, but man, when I was laying in the hospital, I appreciated it. You reached out to my son to tell him that you thought something was going on, and I thank you so much for it, because it was a huge part of Sammy understanding.
Well, I'm glad I could do that, man. I was just can I talk about what happened?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, we were just having a chat, and you just kind of went MIA, and I knew that you were kind of having some issues with, I thought maybe you had something going on with like circulation in your brain, or I thought there was something that you were struggling with. I didn't really know any details, but I knew that there was a bit of a concern, and you just seemed off, and then you just stopped talking, and I knew that wasn't like you. So I just figured that it was best to contact your family. And so I kind of hunted down your son on Facebook there and I couldn't go to bed not knowing, I didn't want to wake up the next day and hear bad news or something. And I've had some friends that went through similar stuff like that, and talking to someone on the phone, and they had a brain aneurysm or something like that. And they checked in, and that made the difference in their lives. So I'm glad that I did that. And like I said, we've had a chat in the past there about it, but I don't regret it. And I'm glad that you forgive me. And I'm glad that you're still here, and that I mean, that was nothing. I just was checking in on you, and but I appreciate it. But I'm just glad you're okay.
It meant a lot. And for people out there right now that you're not 100% sure, and you maybe think that the person's going to be upset, do it. It doesn't matter if they're upset, because something like that will save their lives, and then later they'll understand and appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't even pretend to be at a level of, whatever it was that you were dealing with. And I mean, you've got so many years on me, and you've probably been through so many things, and we've all got kind of our, things that have affected us psychologically. And like, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I know that suffer with depression, including myself. I've had my run-in with depression here and there, especially since my injury and so forth. And it's tough, because like you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I understand that, like, and you don't want help. You just don't feel like you can be helped. You're just not yourself, and it's really it is a mental illness, and you just get lost in there somewhere, and you let it take a hold of you. And
the one thing I want you to understand, Brad, and anybody listening, I don't care how old they are, I want people to forget about that age stigma, that I'm older than you by 30 years or whatever, so I've been through so much more. That's absolute bullshit, man. Everybody's issues are their issues, and somebody 30 years old could have way more issues than somebody 70. It's just the way the cards that we've been dealt. So I want people out there just not understand that I have to be more respectful because you're older, so you've been through more. No, you've been through what you've been through, and that's a lot.
That's a good statement. And yeah, no, that makes sense there. But yeah, no, it's I'm just powerful story, and I'm so glad that everything just kind of happened, and you're safe and alive and talking with me today. And we just talk, we're going to hang out sometime soon and catch up a little more, but I'll try not to keep you too much longer. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about mental illness or anything like that?
Yeah, I just want people to reach out, we're doing a thing now, Connected, and I'll send you the link, Give a Shift. for mental health and mental illness, and I want you to do a segment for us. It's just 30 seconds. We want hockey players to make a little video and where they are now in life, and just give a shift for mental health and mental illness, and so we can raise some money to get people to get the help they need. And if I didn't spend those 17 days in the hospital, I don't know where I'd be. I probably would have tried it again, but I've learned a lot about myself, and just ask for help. There's nothing wrong, no shame in asking for help. Took me years to realize that.
It actually it is pretty tough to ask for help, but I think that it's better to show how you're feeling and get some help, as opposed to letting it eat up inside of you. And those are definitely key messages that you have to share. And sorry, I'm kind of got choked up listening to your story there, because you're such a good friend, and just knowing that you were going through that, it was pretty tough to hear again. But if, like you said, what was the website link, if you want to say it one more time?
It's you get it through Gouche Live. So if you go to the Gouche Live, you'll be able to see it's Give a Shift for mental health. And I'll send you the info, and you can put it on. But it's Give a Shift for mental illness or mental health.
Yeah, and it's cool because I a lot of people have a bit of like the hockey culture is a little bit tough, right? Like it's all about just put your head down and go to work and just shut your mouth. And if you're emotional, you got to deal with it, or just power through. And now we're starting to learn that no, like things affect you deep down, and then they kind of they kind of go a little bit further outside of the rink. And so it's good that they're doing that program. I'll definitely check it out and add some more information. Like I said, in the little comment section there.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of hockey players in the past, my age, that are dealing with mental illness or attempted suicide or committed suicide. And you're seeing a lot with a lot of the younger players coming out now that come out of junior, and they just can't deal with the day-to-day pressures.
Yeah, and just speaking from experience, as far as some of the stuff that I've had go through my mind and whatnot, I don't need to really get into too much about it, but it just kind of shows still how people deal with it. For me, it's something that I'm not comfortable talking about, maybe more not in a blog, maybe as somebody that I would call or, do something like that. But thankfully I've got a good support system, and, like yourself, to reach out to if I ever need, some advice of where to go and how to handle those, thoughts when things kind of get down. But
the other thing, Brad, I want people to understand too from this is just because people go, oh, you're so brave to tell your story. Just because I'm okay with telling every part of my story, and there's stuff I told that I knew was going to hurt people. My mom's dying of cancer and I'm stealing her morphine. I knew that was going to hurt my family, but I knew I had to tell that as a part of my story. But that doesn't mean that you do or somebody else does. Sometimes saying it and talking about it outside to the general public is the worst thing to do. So people have to know what they can do and what they can internally get away with.
So I have a question for you, just because lately with this whole COVID thing, and just kind of I feel like I'm getting kind of on a better path as far as kind of the real world and outside of hockey and so forth, and learning a bit about myself. What's something that you've learned about yourself over the years and through everything that you've been through now up until today that you may not have really realized back in the day?
Well, the biggest thing I've learned is I'm good enough. I thought for years I wasn't good enough. I had many people tell me I was worthless and I was stupid and I couldn't read and I was a dummy. And I really learned from some real close people to me that I am good enough, that I'm good enough just the way I am.
You're just perfect, man. And you know what? For what it's worth, I loved your sense of humor. You were so entertaining. You were fun to be around. I loved hanging out with you. Even though there was a huge age difference, it felt like I was still hanging out with someone my own age and just very youthful and funny. And it was great that I could share stuff with you. And looking back, there's a lot of people that I have a very long list of good friends that have made a huge impact on my life. But looking back at a lot of memories that we've had and things that you've said, along with guys like Jean Labonte and Todd Nicholson, Sean, like a lot of different guys that supported me. But like something that really stood out that you used to do was you were very supportive. Every goal that I used to score on you was one of the greatest goals you've ever seen. And you pumped my tires so much that I actually started to believe it myself as a hockey player. And that kind of really just helped me grow that confidence. And I mean, for whatever that's worth, I wouldn't have been able to build that confidence, I don't think, if I didn't cross paths with Paul Rosen. So thank you for impacting my life. And just, now that you know the truth, I'm glad that you figured that out. But thank you for being you, buddy.
Hey, buddy, you've done the exact same to me. You made me a better goalie, being able to train out in Orton, Ontario, where I was freezing the days I didn't want to come out, and you convinced me to come out, and you'd rip them under the bar on me, and you made my glove hand better. So when Rolf Einar Pettersson took that shot, I made the glove save, and I used to love watching you score. One of my favorite goals of all time was when we were in that OT 0-0 2007 in Kelowna. They dropped the puck. Svet Korsvi, one guy who I just could not stand. He came in, clear cut. Johnny Labonte breaks his stick. I make the stop. I throw it up to Bridges. Bridges hits Bowden, and Bowden rips it under the bar on Roger Johansson, another guy who I wasn't a big fan of. And that was one of the greatest moments playing. And I know people say, yeah, but you won the gold in Torino. That's an Olympic gold. And yeah. But this moment of coming out, because like I was in devastation mode in the dressing room in the intermission going out for the overtime. You remember my mother-in-law had just passed away. My kids were not happy with me that I was staying in Kelowna. We put black arms on our black armbands on our left arm, and then we won it. Like it was like 38 seconds in. And it was one of the nicest shots I've ever seen. So, there's been some great 27s in this game. Frank Mahovlich, Daryl Sittler, Reggie Leach going way back. But my favorite 27 is Brad Boughton from Orton, Ontario.
Well, that means a lot, buddy. You're too kind. It's funny you thought of that, because I was going to say the same thing. And I remember the speech. Do you remember the speech that Snides gave in the change room?
Pieces of it.
He said, somebody in this room is going to be a hero.
Yeah.
And I remember, this is what my confidence is like. This is what, so kids like don't realize what they're capable of doing. And I look back and I go, you dumb brat. Like you're so oblivious to what you're capable of doing. I was looking around the change room going, I wonder if Mark's going to score. I wonder is it going to be Billy? Whatever. And then 30 something seconds in, I had to get the puck off my stick, it goes in, and everyone's on me. And I was just like, wow, like I didn't even see that coming. And it was just so quick. And they can say what they want about the goal. I still think it was a pretty nice shot. It was a nice placement. Yeah, I've heard that was like after the tournament, he said, well, it was kind of an easy goal there. Our goalie should have had it. Well,
who said that?
One of their forwards said it after. So the goalie let in a weak goal. It's like,
speaking as a goaltender, that was one of the nicest goals ever. You put it right under the bar. And then the great thing about it, it was in the far end. So I got, normally, you get jumped as the goalie, but you guys, you went into the corner. I had the entire ice surface of full speed to come in. And man, I came in, you remember I came into that pile. I think I killed Billy. I hit him pretty hard.
It was a great win. Like you said, like that tournament may not have meant anything at the end of the day, but it definitely brought us closer together, and it sure as hell felt good to beat those guys the way we did. And I think we really shocked them. And I know we had a hell of a time after. It was a lot of fun. I love Kelowna. That was a really good after party too. And we really celebrated that win. It was fun.
Yes. Could have definitely lost my life in Kelowna that night.
Anyways, well, a nice segue into the next question that I have is, do you miss hockey? I'm going to assume that you do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I miss the guys. I don't miss the game itself, Brad, but because I still do that with my broadcasting. I love my broadcasting, but I missed the guys. I missed the bus rides. I missed the plane trips. I missed being in the dressing room. I missed dressing up as Mrs. Doubtfire and make you guys laugh. I missed the team meetings where, you know, we could just do crazy stuff. You know, a lot of the stuff I can't say because it's like pretty dirty, but like I did to make you guys laugh. But it to me, it was all about, you know, getting you guys to believe in yourselves. And I knew once Brad Bowden, Billy Bridges, and Greg Westlake believed in themselves, man, it was going to be tough to beat Team Canada.
Yeah, no, and you definitely, like every time I was on the road with you and we were rooming together, and like I was a bit of a grandmother's boy for a couple of years, and it was great just that you went out of your way to make sure you took me under your wing and make sure I was doing what I needed to do, and people were treating me with respect and so forth, and I know that they really appreciated that, and yeah, it's just it was just unreal, and that's cool too because now when I talk to because the biggest thing is you want to lighten some people up. The new players that come in, they're so nervous. They're not sure what's going to happen. They want to make it, and they're usually, you just got to have fun. And like you were really good at just making things fun. And you know, I got to thank you for that. It was there was a lot of laughs to be shared. But I don't know. What advice do you want to give to anyone that wants to do what we did and kind of pursue a sledge hockey career or an able-bodied hockey career or whatever kind of sport they want? What advice would you give to a young person right now?
Work hard. Do not believe your naysayers, man, because there was a lot of people that told me at the very beginning I wasn't good enough when Pichette was, you know, and I don't know whether this part airs or not. To me, it doesn't matter whether it does or not. He didn't treat me really nice the first few years. But I knew if I worked hard and I listened to the guys that I believed in and I knew believed in me, and I knew the goalie coach, you know, get somebody that believes in you that can help you, and believe in yourself. Even if people continuously tell you you're not good enough, screw that shit. If you believe you are and you work hard, man, you can do incredible things. Like 2006 in Torino, that's probably the greatest game of my life. I was 46 years old. I had family members that told me you'll never. It's not, you can't, it's no way. Why? You know?
Why would anybody ever say that to anybody?
Because it's the easy thing to do, Brad. The easiest thing to do is tell somebody they cannot achieve greatness. But you did it in two sports too, you know, and I know this is your interview on me, but that was one of the things that I used to sit down and talk to your grandmother, Colleen, and your grandfather, Jerry, many, many times. And I don't want to get this to get, you know, too, you know, emotional. But man, those were two people that believe that you could do anything, that if you wanted to, the basketball, hockey, you could have done any other sport and you would have been the best in the world because they knew that you had it in you. You just had to believe that. So I want people to get out there and do not take the negative. Just if somebody's negative with you, blow them off, man, and just work hard. And work hard. You may not achieve what you want to achieve, but you'll never know unless you give it a shot.
For sure. Amen, brother. I think that's a perfect way to end the interview. And is there anything else, unless there's anything else you want to add?
No, just you know, getting a chance to play for your country. I've done it in hockey and volleyball. You've done it in hockey and basketball. The greatest thrill in the world, knowing that you're representing your country, and just take pride in it. Don't take it for granted, because when it ends, man, it ends. We both are retired now, and
well, I'm not officially retired, but
okay. Is there a possibility?
Well, it's like, I mean, I'm going to do whatever it is that I want to do.
Okay.
If I want to make a comeback, then I'll decide I want to do that and put the work in. I'm sure that I could probably do that, but right now I'm just focusing on my health and my job right now, and just dealing with this COVID thing. And I mean, my arms are still not great, and you know, there's probably a slim chance that I could probably even do it again. But I mean, I've learned one thing is that if there's something that I want to do, then I'll just do it. I mean, at the very least, I can just try out and don't make the team. I'm not good enough. And if I'm not, then I don't make the team.
What are you now, 36?
I'm going to be 37 on the 26th.
Okay, right. Yeah, because you're just a little older than my daughter and Billy. But So 37, man. I didn't start playing. I didn't try out for the team till I was 40.
Yeah. I don't know what it's for me, like, just to go back on that, like, it's not like I'm trying to say that I could just come back, but like, I'm tired of selling myself short, like you said, and that's something that I've been really trying to do. And I think a lot of kids, the music you listen to, some of it's depressing, and the things you read in the news, and you're always told things that are not good for you, or things you can't do, and like how life's so bad. But like, I'm starting to just have the mindset where, um, you know, the sky's the limit. Like if anybody wants to do something, they'll do it. It's just a matter of having to put in the work. And to be honest, like, if I want to come back, it's take a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do it, or if I can, but
Well, I tell you
who
what,
the hell knows?
if you want to do it, we'll put it together like old Rocky 1, baby. I watched it a few days ago. You'll be Rocky, and I'll be his manager, Burgess Meredith. I'll be Mick, and we'll get you out there, and we'll do it, baby. We'll do it.
Well, all right. I'll be. You could be my PR guy.
Hey, I would love to. Love.
All right. Well, you're learning the computer programs pretty well and all that, so I might hold you to that.
I'm trying. Listen, Brad, anything you need, all you got to do is call, and I'm there, brother.
All right, buddy. Well, I honestly really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you're probably busy with your own projects and stuff like that, family through the quarantine, but appreciate your time, and I love you, brother.
I love you too, and I'm never too busy for number 27.
See ya.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right, take care. Bye.